Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Right, it's Friday. Friday's the day of the week we turn to the BonBon buddies over on Patreon and say, hey guys, vote us in a map. And they've gone with this one. It's a request map requested by Turtle the Builder, and it's based on a real-life location, inspired by a real-life location. That location is the hometown of the creator themselves in Slovakia, of all places. Why not Slovakia, of all places? I don't know. It's really nice. The mountains are a great shape. The buildable space is completely 100% flat, for those of you that want the perfectly flat build plane. One or two itchy, scratchy little things with it, but nothing that's going to put you off playing it. And one minor issue on the edge of the map, which we'll get to at some point during the review. While we're doing the review, of course, if you want to take part in BonBonBingo, link is in the description to grab yourself a bingo card, play along with the memes, and one last job, a little minor exercise for you. That's right, exercising that finger on the like button is a really good way of losing weight. You try it 1 trillion times, you'll find that you'll lose a few calories. Today's map is River Nitra by kolibrik. So good, they named him twice. This is, yeah, really, I love the thumbnail. Very simple use of the text there as well. There's your start square, pretty usable. An intersection and a little bridge type thing there, which we'll check out shortly. The terrain heights are, well, very striking. Very, very striking indeed. And plenty of wind if you want the wind. And resources are as bold and strong in the locations where they are sited. You might want the 81 tile mod for the third tile. If you've got Sands Harbour and want to do some fishing, the fishing map looks like this. It's perfectly fine and very subtle. Off to the workshop, what do we need? There's mass transit and industries, DLC industries just for one specific sort of tree. Nicely written short description as well, letting us know about the limited tree mod, the intersection marking tool, all these bits and pieces as well. We'll be using the Not So Rocky Hills map theme and the realistic 1.2 LUT. On the list of requirements, like loading screen mod, not strictly requirements, same with the anarchies and such, but they're good to have anyway. Having said, there's while there's a list of things to subscribe to here, 1 or 2 I'm not even certain they're used. There are a couple of things that are missing as well. The Benton Foggia tree and the surface network grass are used, but won't be appearing in today's review because they weren't on the requirements list. So it's just the way that it happens. You know, I wasn't subscribed to them already, so therefore they didn't show up. It's probably quite to get the words out. It probably happens quite a lot actually, because I'm subscribed to so many things that sometimes there might be things missing off the requirements list that just pop up anyway. And short of unsubscribing to everything and just loading clean every single time, which I'm not going to do, just not going to do it, we'll never know for sure. Anyways, let's drive down this very quiet 2-lane highway. Right, and of course, we've got these custom roads today. We've got some very nice custom roads on today's map. Custom 2-lane highways here. And we are also using mass transit and, of course, network extension. Oh, slightly jinky-janky there. Jinky-janky off your bingo checkers. But yes, yeah, we've got mass transit today. There's also network extensions 2 listed today, and these 2-lane highways. 3 options for 2-lane highways. I think it might be slight overkill for a subscription requirement list, but what am I to say? I mean, they may know better than I. I'm not the Oracle. I would love to be the Oracle, but I'm not the Oracle. I'd earn a lot more money if I was the Oracle. It'd be lovely. It'd be lovely to earn a lot more money, but no. There are people with bigger brains than I, and most of them are watching this show right now. I'm looking at you. Okay, right, so anyway, this highway, it bends in for quite some way, but in a believable sense. I mean, it curves for ages, but not in a way where you go, this is a bit crazy how long that bends. It kind of just feels right. It's just that it's not so steep, and when you look down from above, it would have to follow this kind of route anyway. Probably in real life they would have had it straighten out a bit, because yeah, you'd probably start drifting off on the road, you know, trying to maintain that curve for kilometre after kilometre after kilometre. It probably would cause some accidents eventually. So yes, and now we're going back the other way, just a little bit. Again, it's very gentle, it's very subtle. There's some very nice forests on today's map, but we have got a very nice subscription list of trees to allow for these. So again, I would say the tree work in general is very good on today's map. Now we've got an intersection. Intersection's nicely done. Okay, I'm loving the shape from above, but some of these ramps are just a little bit harsh. Intersection marking tool in operation, yeah. But like that, I would like to see that expanded or extended over a little bit more space, rather than just going straight up and then leveling straight out. Intersection marking tool, not really going to talk about the shapes of the hashes and the chevrons, etc. on today's map, because there are other things to talk about today. But again, we've got this little elevated bridge section, which just feels a little bit harshly done. It could be just softer and more smoothly worked into the environment. Another very nice intersection here. This one's really very nice as well. Loving the markings on the slip road there as well. That's very nice. And again, I'm liking the shape of this. It encourages you to want to actually build on the map when you've got something that's just a little bit creative like this. And again, creative use of the intersection marking tool. I'm using the word creative because I know there's going to be a few of you go, but that's not right. Well, fine. Yeah, and slight little bump on the roundabout here. Slight little ump as you're going up there. That's going to ruin a few suspensions. You take that too fast. And then back down to cross the river and enter the start square territory. This is all very good. Plenty of lovely buildable space over here, and a quite pleasing river to run alongside. I'm going to argue about the sound barriers along the sides here. It looks a bit weird the way the sound barriers break in and break out along this intersection. I wouldn't have bothered with them, but that's just me, I feel. So yeah, you've got that, and then you've got this bridge here, which is in the start square as well. It's not connected with anything. It's nice to have it popped in there just to get you started, I feel. But blue mantle underneath it, when the bridge isn't strictly essential, I'm afraid that's a bit of a shot in the foot. Blue mantle is always a fail, because you are ripping a hole in the environment. There are several solutions to getting around the blue mantle, or fixing the blue mantle, and what we have there is I mean, it's a perfect height bridge, but it's not connected to anything, so it doesn't really add much to the map. I mean, it adds a bit of interest, I feel, and then you just gives you some way of breaking across the highway without putting your own bridge in. I can understand that, but then to leave it with like a gash of blue mantle underneath is a bit of a hit. Anyway, the highway then continues up and around through a very nice scenic route there. I do like that route. And again, a very nice bridge over the river again, leading up to this intersection. Now, here we're seeing traffic for the first time, okay? So we do know there is actually traffic on the map. The bridge, we've got a few, intersection marking tool alignments. I'm looking at this thinking, have we switched between sorts of road types? I think that's probably what's happened there. And that's always going to be a problem when you're switching between different road types, like network extensions to mass transit, to these custom roads. Sometimes they're not going to quite be the same width. And I think that's what's gone on there. Intersection marking tool, as I say there, I'm not going to complain too much about it, but I'll try and show you a bit later on. A few of the lines, like I say, could have their widths adjusted to line up better with what's down. We have an oval about down here as a potential start location. We normally go to the edge of the map. I thought I'd come over this way because, again, some nice intersection tool work here as well. A little splash of blue mantle just in the corner there as well. Occasionally we see that in forced intersections. And a little bit of glitching of the terrain coming through the underside of the road there. Now, I thought we'd come this way rather than go to the edge of the map because we have the rail. Now, the rail is a bit interesting. Let me show you where... How about over here, first of all? We've got a little dead end of rail right here, which I thought was going to be where there'd be a station. Made sense for there to be a station at this point. I don't think that that is what that was all about, We come over here, and I was basing, as this is based on a real life location, I'm suspecting what happened was there was going to be a tunnel. Right, we have this there, which dead ends just before the mountain. And if you have a look, there's nowhere for it to go other than kind of here. So I'm thinking, again, hopefully the creator will watch the show and let us know. But in the hometown, or just outside of the hometown, or I think we just drop a little bit in height here with the rail, so it could be just a little bit smoother there. But yes, I'm suspecting there's either a tunnel being built, or there was a tunnel built, or they were going to build a tunnel and then they saved money by going around the mountain. I'm unsure. But given it's based on a real life location, I'm not going to fault the creator for that. I'm going to assume it's actually as is. The rail goes up and over the road, but it does so quite smoothly, elongated elevation going on there. We've got the same going on here, which you're going to get from this angle, where it goes up and over the road. Only this one, I think that's a bare minimum elevation over 2 nodes there. But I'd like to see that smoothed out a bit more. Plus then we go elevated again to go over the river. And maybe we could have stayed elevated for the entire stretch. But again, that's probably not how it works in real life, which may be why they've gone the other way. Intermission time.
Have you ever torn a hole through the surface of the earth? Do blue mantle nightmares trouble you deeply? Then you need BonBonB's How to Fix Blue Mantle tutorial. Click the I button now.
And so back to the lack of shipping routes in River Nitra by kolibrik. So good they named him twice. Yeah, the river isn't really set for shipping routes, so that's fine. We have an air route that runs roughly down the length of the river, and so airports works fine for me. Yeah, I wouldn't expect to have shipping routes on today's map, so I think it's a very good shout by kolibrik not to force a shipping route down this river. Speaking of the river, we have water flow. There's good strong water flow. It's not the deepest of rivers. If you're going to be building a big city and reliant entirely on this river, you may struggle a little bit, but there are some lakes dotted around as well. Plus you could do some sort of terrain work right on the edge of the map to give yourself a little bit more water if you so wish. But it's certainly, for base game rules, enough. And then you have the map as a whole with some really great hills and mountain shapes. I'm going to mention the trees again. The tree work on the map feels, I'm going to say, more than adequate. Even little cliff areas like this that are covered with trees where normally I'd moan about these things. It looks right. And if it looks right, it's right. That's the only way of putting it. Let's switch of resources under there, and that looks very rocky, so I'm guessing that must be ore. I think it might be oil, actually. I'm pretty sure they used ore in the mountains. Mountains are great shape. Great shape. And we've got pretty good tree work around the mountains as well. Just the one point of note, and I'm not really going to go too heavy on this one, because who's going to come out to the mountains this far to check up on, here we go, one random tree cluster on the edge of the cliff, and of course it's like non-terrain conforming, so it is going to be slightly floaty. I'm sure that happens several times on the map because of the way that the map's been done, but in general I would say on the whole the tree work is very good, and that's just something, if you really want to go hunting around in the mountains for elevated trees, you be my guest. Right, okay, now we have this intersection here. You can see we've got traffic coming off the intersection, and this is a very nice route. Okay, let me show you the route. We have some very nice switchbacks going on up to get up this side of the hill here. Now we're elevated up the hill. We're going to go places. We're going to go to some more switchbacks. Switchbacks down the hill, and we come down to this spot here, and then I wonder, could we be that far from where we started off? And if you look over there, that road there, right in front of us, is the highway. So, obviously based on real life again, but I would just connect that to there. Why are we going from there, up the hill, back down the hill, when we could just shortcut over this way? Again, I'm guessing it's based on real life for whatever reasons, but it's just a curiosity for me. It's just, I'm not going to mark the map down on it. But we have a decent amount of traffic going up and switching back. And this is a really very nice, very scenic route. And I'm liking this. I think it's probably one of these places in Slovakia where people go, oh, you've got to drive the A267 or whatever road this happens to be in real life. Seems very nice indeed. Goes off towards the edge of the map over here. It'll switch back down there. Edge of map over here. Just a little weird thing going on here with this edge of... This isn't a problem. We're using mass transit road to connect on the outside. It's a national road. I'm not sure why we got the extra arrow on there. That's really very weird. It is just a standard national road there. So yeah, that's just an oddity. Great shapes of the mountains. I keep pointing out the shapes of the mountains. I'm just loving the shapes of the mountains on today's map. Now, remember this really quiet road here with the 2-lane custom roads? Let's head off towards the edge of the map. I want to show you, I did say there's a bit of edge of map shenanigans going on, and there is on this stretch. This connects the edge of the map over here, but the road that we're using to connect is Network Extensions 2, which without the Any Road Outside Connections mod, you don't need that, but the map creator does, that is not going to connect. And there be the problem. If we were using mass transit, that would be all connected up very nicely now, but we're using the wrong 2-lane highway. And I did say earlier, that can always be a problem. Where we've got 3 sets of 2-lane highways to choose between, there's always a possibility that you're going to choose the wrong one. I think that's maybe what's happened there. Great shapes of mountains, some interesting rock work there as well, and some interesting shaped fields. I'm not going to say I love them. I don't love them. I don't hate them either. And some basic tree detailing along the sides of the rivers. Some of it done with the prop line tool. Some of it looks a bit clunky, but on the whole, nice little touch. And down into Start Square for today's assets of the day. We have the Simple Apartments series number 11 to 12, Residential High Density Level 5 by Hamrof. Yeah, you get 2. You get 2 for the 1 click. This one seems to have like a little commercial corner on it. And while they're very similar, they're also both very different buildings as well. Like I'm loving the staircase showing through there. That's really eye-catching. I mean, it'd be scary to climb, but that's just because I'm a big wuss. Shall we do factoids? Because factoids, I think we should do factoids because factoids. It took 2 weeks for Europe to learn of President Lincoln's death, proving that the most important news doesn't always travel fast. Yeah, well, I'm guessing those were the days before the high-speed interweb. You know, sending a telegram or whatever, or just a letter. And just don't stick it on the Titanic, it won't make... No, it's going the other way, wasn't it? Simple Apartment Series, 11 to 12, by Hamrof. Long name. Long name for 2 very nice apartment buildings. Definitely one to consider for any city build, I would say. Right, okay, what do you think of today's map? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now in the top right hand corner of your screen, or the link in the description will take you to the voting page where you can vote for free with a Facebook, Apple, Gmail or a Patreon account. But what do I think of today's map? Aesthetically, I really quite like this. We've got some great shapes. We've got some fairly pleasing tree work. Yes, the tree work along the river could be a little bit more polished, but do you know what? I still think the whole thing falls into 4 stars. It's lowish end of 4 stars, but it's still a 4-star map. I'm really quite pleased with this. Detailing. There's some pretty good work. Does it quite kick into 4 stars? That's the thing. The absolute nth degree of quality is lacking, but overall it still feels pretty strong. I'm going to go for a high end of 3. Gameplay potential. I would give this that 4th star very happily, but that edge of map outside connection I think needs to be punished. So what we'll do is we'll bring it down to a very high 3 stars with a nod to it basically being a 4-star map for gameplay. River Nitra by kolibrik, so good they named him twice, of course. Would it have got the seal of approval? I probably would have, but I just, yeah, big splash of blue mantle there and that edge of map connection. I think, yeah, I got that. I can't really approve, can I? It's close. It was a close run thing. Anyway, don't let it get to your head. If you're still here, you're part of the 20 and out elite. Use the words of the day in the comments. Score yourself some population points just for fun. I'll be back tomorrow with the Saturday map. There might be something quirky going on with it. You never know. See you then. Have a good day.